Something big could be about to happen in Las Vegas, and you need to know everything about it now. Between speculation about high-value trades, the search for a star wide receiver, and a possible high-impact signing before training camp, the Raiders' future is about to explode. The storm surrounding Jalen Ramsay continues to gather strength, and this time, the center of that hurricane could very well be Las Vegas. The renowned Dolphins cornerback and the Miami franchise have been in a tense standoff for more than 2 months. Negotiations have stalled, disagreements have intensified, and behind the scenes in the NFL, the general feeling is that the outcome is near, and everything indicates that a trade will be completed. And that's where the Raiders emerge as a key player in this board game. Sources close to the situation reveal that Ramsay, although still officially limited to Miami, has already expressed his desire to play on the West Coast. The natural options that have emerged include the Los Angeles Rams, the franchise where the cornerback shone and restricted the Super Bowl, and the Chargers. However, there is a third force gaining momentum in this race: the Las Vegas Raiders. And we are not talking about just any cornerback here. We are talking about an athlete who, at 6 feet 1 inch, 200 pounds, with absurdly long arms of 34 inches, perfectly fits the profile that Pete Carroll, the Raiders' new head coach, is looking for in his secondary. Carroll has always valued physical defenders with extended coverage and the ability to face the league's most dominant receivers in close combat. Ramsay delivers all of that in spades, and he also adds leadership experience and a championship mentality, something essential for a team-oriented roster. In addition, the technical adjustment is only part of the discovery. There is also an urgent need for the franchise to add a true cornerback to the roster. The AFC West is a tight division, with elite quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and now the promising Bo Nix joining the Denver Broncos. No survival has survived in this scenario without elite perimeter coverage, and in this case, Ramsay would be simply transformative. Good news for fans: Las Vegas has the financial flexibility to absorb Ramsay's contract. With smart off-season management, the Raiders' salary cap is ready for a potential high-impact signing. It would be a bold move, but absolutely viable from an economic standpoint. But why hasn't it happened yet? That's the big question hanging in the air. Despite all the media speculation, no inside source has confirmed that Las Vegas has made formal contact with the Dolphins. So far, everything remains in the realm of projections and assumptions, but the scenario is dynamic and can change at any moment. In the meantime, Raider Nation is fully vigilant, watching every move with a watchful eye, anxious for an announcement that could shake up the entire NFL. Because if Jalen Ramsay does arrive in the Nevada desert, it won't be just another signing. It will be a direct message that the Raiders are no longer here to compete. They want to dominate. And if you think the defense is the only one at the center of the rumors, get ready. The next name that comes up behind the scenes could be the ingredient needed to transform the Raiders' offense into one of the most destructive forces in the entire league. If Jalen Ramsay's name has already gotten people talking in Las Vegas, get ready, because now the focus is completely on the offense. And the name of the moment is simply one of the most consistent wide receivers in the NFL in recent years, Terry McLaurin. And the connection with the Raiders is starting to gain strength with each new day of silence coming from Washington. The Commanders are going through a delicate moment. After years of instability, they finally had a respectable season, led by a solid defense and an offense that, despite its youth, surprised. Is there no centerpiece of this success? McLaurin, of course. At just 28 years old, the wide receiver has been elected to the Pro Bowl twice and was named second-team All-Pro last season, consolidating himself as one of the most respected receivers of his generation. However, his contract is nearing its end, and that's where the tension begins. McLaurin wants an extension, and rightly so. His production has always been steady, even in years when the weather didn't offer elite quarterbacks. Always reliable, always available, always decisive. And even with the arrival of young Jaden Daniels, who is still under contract and has virtually no impact on the salary cap, the Commanders are hesitant to pay what McLaurin believes he is worth. It is precisely in this moment of uncertainty that the Raiders emerge as one of the ideal destinations. The analysis by Fox Sports journalist David Hellman summed up the scenario perfectly. If you were to dream of the perfect place for McLaurin, Las Vegas is the most interesting choice. The Raiders need a true star in the receiving corps. Adding McLaurin to that roster could put them squarely in the running for the AFC West. In fact, the Raiders' explosion has been shaped by promising pieces. Geno Smith arrives with the mission of stabilizing the quarterback position. Brock Bowers is already considered a characteristic tight end. Ashton Janty promises to revolutionize the ground game, and Jacoby Myers is a solid WR, but he does not play the role of a true WR1. McLaurin, with his level of production, would bring the balance and explosiveness that the offense needs. And how much would this deal cost? Everything indicates that the market price would be a second-round pick. Not because McLaurin isn't elite, but because he's not in the same range of players as Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, or A.J. Brown. We recently saw DK Metcalf traded to the Seahawks in the second round, which establishes a reasonable basis for comparison. For the Raiders, giving up a second round for a receiver who still has many years of high performance ahead of him could be a highly profitable investment, especially knowing that, alongside Bowers and Jainty, McLaurin could turn the Las Vegas offense into a real nightmare for opposing defenses. But there's an important point to consider. Will the Raiders really need to look for a wide receiver at this point? Fourth-round pick. Dante Thornton has been surprising in training and could be an immediate impact player. Second-round pick. Jack Beck also offers depth and tactical alternatives. And of course, Bowers will naturally be Geno Smith's main outlet. In other words, McLaurin would be the cherry on top. Not a vital necessity, but a tempting opportunity. Now, while the offense already seems to be gaining momentum, the defense still has a significant gap. And there is a name on the market who knows the Nevada desert well, has already worn the silver and black jersey, and could be exactly the complement that Las Vegas's new defensive era needs. The new era of the Raiders is beginning to take shape. The renewed management with John Spytek, the experience of Tom Brady behind the scenes, the arrival of Pete Carroll in charge, and the incorporation of young talents give clear signs of a serious project under construction. But despite the evident progress in the assembly of the roster, there is one area that still causes concern behind the scenes: the pass rush. This is exactly where the possibility of a reunion with an old acquaintance of the fans arises: Yannick Ngakoue. Max Crosby continues to be the undisputed force of the defensive line. Recently awarded with a contract extension that places him among the highest-paid players in the league, Crosby is now the heart of the Las Vegas defense. However, as every great pass rusher knows, there is no absolute dominance without help on the other side of the line. And at this moment, the depth of the unit is worrying. Malcolm Kuntz, when healthy, showed flashes of great potential. However, a serious injury to the anterior cruciate ligament still raises doubts about his ability to return to 100% performance. Tyree Wilson, a first-round pick who should have stepped up his game in his second season, has yet to turn his production potential into reality. And facing quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and rookie Bo Nix with no real depth on the defensive line is simply too risky for anyone who dreams big in 2025. It is in this scenario that Ngakoue's name comes back into the picture with force. At 30 years old, the pass rusher remains one of the most interesting free agents on the market. And no one in Vegas forgets that it was precisely while wearing the silver and black jersey that he had his last double-digit sack season. He had 10 sacks in 2021, under Gus Bradley. Since then, he has been on the road for 4 different franchises, but has never found stability or a scheme that maximizes his talent. Now, under Patrick Graham, the fit could be even more interesting. Known for his creative defensive calls and the famous illusion of complexity, Graham's system constantly confuses opposing lines of operations, using multiple formations and pressure disguises. A perfect environment to enhance not only Crosby, but also to create one-on-one situations that Ngakoue can exploit like few others. In addition to the tactical adjustment, there is the emotional and psychological factor. Ngakoue already knows the locker room, already feels the heat of Raider Nation, and has already thrived in this environment. It would not be a blind bet. It would be bringing back a tried and tested piece with a positive track record and a thirst to prove his worth once again. And the cost? At this point in the market, it would be a modest investment compared to the immediate impact he can generate. With Ngakoue's return, the Raiders were finally able to present a defensive line capable of keeping any offensive coordinator in the AFC West awake at night. With Crosby and Ngakoue forming a quarterback hunting duo, defenses would have to choose who gets double-teamed, and any choice would be dangerous. With Jalen Ramsay, Terry McLaurin, and Yannick Ngakoue all over the Las Vegas sidelines, it's clear the Raiders are at a crossroads of opportunity. Strategic moves now can not only extend their playoff run, but put them firmly on track to be an AFC contender. The board is set. The question remains, how aggressive is this front office willing to be? Raiders fan? If you weren't in John Spytek and Tom Brady's shoes, which of these moves should be a priority for the Raiders right now? Reply to our comments and subscribe now, because new bombs could go off at any moment. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. But later, I will come back to update you with the latest news from the Raiders.